Hi there. In this video, we're going to run through meta attribution settings and which option is best to use when running your meta ads. So firstly, what is an attribution setting? An attribution setting is a way of defining how credit gets passed to the specific ad that could have potentially generated a sale on the website. So in terms of the attribution setting options that there are on Meta, there are two main types: click and view through attribution settings. So a click attribution setting is essentially if the user clicks on an ad and converts within that time window, so whether that's 1 day, 7 days, or 28 days, that ad that generated that click will get attributed or kind of credited with that purchase. The same goes for 1 day view attribution. So 1 day view is essentially if the user views an ad and makes a purchase on the store within that same day, that ad will get credited or attributed that purchase. Now, the downfall with view through attribution specifically, and this is what I want to focus on and highlight in this video specifically, is the potential over attribution that comes with using a view through attribution setting. Now, with a view through attribution setting, the user actually doesn't have to engage with ad. The ad just has to appear on their feed. And if they purchase that same day and the ad has appeared on their feed, Meta will automatically claim that purchase or assign that purchase to that specific ad. So what happens a lot of the time, and I've seen this in the past, is Meta's pretty good at understanding and knowing when someone is about to make a purchase. And what they'll do is they'll serve that user an ad. The user doesn't even interact with that ad in any way, but it appears on their feed and they go ahead and make that purchase, and Meta claims that purchase as being essentially generated by that specific ad. And obviously that causes misalignment in terms of in-platform performance metrics like CPA, so cost per acquisition, and ROAS numbers in platform. Now, on the click side, you're kind of playing in hard mode when you use click attribution, because obviously this is more of a realistic outline in terms of what the ads are actually generating. In addition to this, given that Meta is more of a top of funnel platform, a lot of the times the clicks that are generated on Meta may not result in a purchase within 1 day or 7 days, etc. And that user might have multiple touch points with the brand before actually following through with their purchase. So again, it is playing a bit of hard mode here, because a lot of the time this attribution setting somewhat under attributes and gives a more conservative estimate in terms of what your ads are actually generating. Now, just hopping into the ads manager here, I'd highly recommend that you always use 7-day click for the following reason. So just heading back to the slide deck here, following a previous video that I made regarding campaign ad and creative performance, which I've linked in the video description below for your reference, is optimizing towards cost per click, specifically at the ad and campaign level, is essential when managing and analyzing campaign, ad set, and ad performance. So following that mindset, we ideally want to keep cost per click as low as possible at all times, obviously while maintaining traffic quality, and all of that's broken down in that video. Now, following on from this, Meta bills advertisers based on views, which is through a CPM value, again, broken down in that video. So essentially, we get billed by Meta to show our ad to 1,000 people, and that's a fixed cost that we get charged. Now, if we are, in terms of ad performance, optimizing towards cost per click, but our campaign is optimizing towards 7-day click and 1-day view, essentially, due to this over attribution aspect, Meta will see that a lot of purchases are coming through that view attribution setting and will prioritize showing ads to users that may be about to convert but don't actually interact with that ad. So we're essentially wasting spend by showing those ads to those users because they're likely going to convert anyway. And generally, from what I've seen in the past, that drives cost per click up. So in terms of the attribution settings impacting how you measure ad performance, this doesn't make too much of a difference, because in my case, I'd recommend not measuring ad performance based off ROAS or CPA values. I'd recommend monitoring ad performance based off cost per click, which is kind of independent of the attribution allocation, I guess, towards each ad. But by using the view through attribution setting, it does push cost per click up, which obviously makes it difficult or more difficult to achieve a much more sustainable cost per click. So key takeaway here is essentially I'd only recommend using 7-day click on your Meta campaigns for those above reasons. Now, if you want visibility in terms of how many purchases are or could potentially come through the 1-day view setting, you still have the option to do that in Meta ads, still have the option to get visibility over that data in Meta Ads without having your campaign optimized towards that view through or 1-day view attribution setting. And that's done in the following way. So head into Meta Ads and then up under the column section here, go compare attribution settings and then select the attribution settings that you want to compare. In this case, we'll just do 7-day click and then 1-day view. And just forgot to mention why I'd recommend just using 7-day click over 1-day click or 28-day click. 1-day click, users, generally speaking, who are clicking on an ad most of the time won't convert on the same day, especially if it's a larger item. 7-day I think is a good middle ground. 28-day I think is too lenient. If someone clicks on an ad and purchases within 28 days, most of the time I'd imagine that 28 days after clicking on an ad, most people wouldn't really remember that specific ad that they clicked on. So 7-day click I think is the best middle ground there. So just not getting sidetracked here in terms of getting visibility over that or those 1-day view purchases. Select your 2 attribution settings, hit apply. And then as you can see here, what it does is it pulls up a breakdown of the total number of purchases that came through your specific campaign. So in this case, as you can see here, we're using the 7-day click attribution setting. So the purchases that are kind of allocated to the campaign as a whole will match the 7-day click conversions only. And as you can see here, we've actually had 7 1-day view conversions come through this campaign as well. So 7 purchases where the user viewed an ad and then made a purchase on the store, but we obviously haven't included this count in our total purchase value, and we haven't kind of optimized the campaign towards these specific purchases. We'd rather want the campaign to go after these kind of true purchases. Then just in terms of where you actually set this up in your ad set structure. So for reference, you can't set this up at the campaign level. You only set this up at the ad set level. So in your ad set, you'll see the regular setup here, and then under the show more settings, under the conversion section, you will see the option to change this attribution setting. So you can change that from a click-through aspect between, or in this case, 1 or 7 days, and then engaged view 1 day or none, and then view through just 1 or none. So select none across those and then just 7 days across click-through, and then you should be good to go. For reference, once your ad set is live, as this ad set is here, you can't change the attribution setting once the ad set is live. So just make sure you set that correctly before publishing the ad set. So that's everything I wanted to mention. Hopefully you found some value here, and thanks again for your time.